Hi, I'm Stephanie, and the biggest obstacle in my life that I've overcome is dealing with my parents' divorce and their lives after that. So I was 17 when my parents took me into their office that they worked in together and told me that they had gotten a divorce that morning. I literally had no idea that my parents were having problems. I had no clue that it was to the point where they would get divorced, and all of a sudden my world as I knew it changed completely. Not only did I deal with that divorce over that month of my senior year, but I lost my grandmother, who was like a second mom to me, and my great-grandfather as well. So speed to, I'm in college and my parents are going their separate ways, and my dad meets a woman that's 17 years younger than him and decides he wants to marry her. This woman was awful to me. She could not have been worse in terms of the way that she treated my dad's daughter. She had never been married, never had her own kids, didn't know how really to deal with that, but I was 19 years old when I met her, and it's changed my life immensely since then. They got married. I pretty much was told I'd get cut off and I wouldn't be able to go to college anymore if I didn't go to the wedding. So I went to the wedding, finally graduated from college, and a week after I graduated, going from an only child my whole life to a half-sister, I had a half-brother be born literally a week after I graduated from college. I had my dad's new wife living in the house that my parents built together, and I moved out of my house and I had my entire world turned upside down, and the new baby was put in my bedroom that I grew up in. So it's been a really, really rocky ride. Not only did I have that half-brother be born, but then I had a half-sister. So at this point, my dad has a whole other family outside of me, and I've been completely displaced from everything. I'm not invited on family vacations. I'm not put on the Christmas cards. There's no pictures of me in the house. My dad talks to me once every couple months, 30 seconds on my birthday when he's in between a meeting. The only way that I've been able to get through this is with my mom, seeing how strong she's been. My mom's basically been the mom and the dad for the past several years in my life. It's been literally hell and back. I mean, it almost feels like you go through like a death in the family, even though your family is still alive. And it makes you question everything about yourself. You start to feel like, well, why am I not included in these new things? Am I not good enough to still be in my father's life? If I'm not deserving of love, is there something that I did wrong? Is this something that will happen to me if I get married? It's just terrible. And I don't think a lot of people realize with divorce how much it affects their kids, and how especially it affects kids that are older, because their whole life was a certain way and they didn't have to deal with it back and forth when they were 6 years old, but now that they're in their 20s, they have to deal with all of, like feeling like a foster child in a way, like going back and forth between their parents, and their parents thinking, oh, you're old, you can deal with it. It's no big deal for you. You should be able to be nice. You should send my new wife a birthday card. You should want to be engaged in these lives with your, now siblings that are practically young enough to be your kids. So all I can say is the best resource is leaning on other people that have been through a divorce, because they're the only ones that can actually understand what you're going through. You can beat your points to a pulp into your parents' heads, and they still won't get it. They still probably won't change. And so I just try to live my life in a way where I treat people better, because I know what it's like to be treated horribly. Usually a baby is supposed to represent happiness and bringing a family together, and for me it just felt like, well, I'm getting even more pushed away out of my own family, like I'm even less important. And to be honest, I struggled with alcohol for a while. I drank by myself a lot. I did a lot of things that I don't necessarily want to remember in my life. The only thing that really pulled me out of that was meeting good people. after going through so many bad ones, I attracted so many negative people when I had such bad feelings about my own life. And it wasn't until I felt like I met my best friend here that was very genuine and actually cared about me, that I was able to start feeling like I was myself again. I wouldn't say I'm the best version of myself today, but I'm definitely a lot better than I was. I take life a little bit less seriously when it comes to small things that don't matter, because I know what it's like to have your life kind of turned upside down in a familial sense. I take people less for granted than I probably did before. I actually genuinely care about hearing other people's stories, because I feel like we can all learn so much from other people and see sides of them and ourselves that maybe we wouldn't have seen otherwise. I take better care of myself. I don't really drink as much anymore. I work out a little bit more. I try to do things that make myself happier to kind of fill the gap and the void that I do have in part of my family life. And I also have an amazing extended family, which has really been helpful. Especially my grandfather on my mom's side has become more of like a father figure for me over the past several years, because he treats me like a daughter. You know, he shows me that a man isn't supposed to behave in the way that I've seen in my own life. I think having an outlet like this is very important, because it makes you realize that everyone in the world most likely is going through something that you would never see while they're just walking around. We all have to get through our daily lives and put on that smile to get where we want to go in life. And I think it's important to share stories that can show you how much we all are connected when we live in such a time where it feels like there is a lot of separation, and sometimes that's actually promoted, which it shouldn't be. I mean, we're all just people, and we're all going through something, no matter what we look like, no matter where we're from, no matter our upbringing. It's really important to have that source of connection. It's beautiful. My outlet in general has been singing and writing. I sing a lot. I relate to songs that maybe have a darker side to them, or there's more of a message inside the lyrics. And for some reason, that for me has always been therapeutic to me ever since I was a little kid. If I, get in a fight with someone, or I was upset about something, I'd close the door in my room and I'd sing to myself, and it would make me feel better. Writing as well, because you can get all your thoughts out, and you don't necessarily have to share them to someone. And sometimes you can really figure out a lot more about yourself and what you're actually dealing with through putting them in written words versus just letting everything stew in your own head, and then feeling like chaos when you step out into the world. So those two things really helped me. I still struggle with not feeling that I'm part of the divorce. I mean, especially when you feel like your father, or in other cases sometimes a mother moves on and they have a whole entire family outside of you. And being an only child, that's even harder, because your parents are literally your world when you're growing up. So for them to split and you have these two separate entities that neither one really feels like is your family, I still struggle with that a lot. In terms of feeling like I could live my own life again, I think it really helped me in a lot of ways to move away. I know that can be considered as running away in certain ways, but for me, I couldn't live in that on a daily basis and have to deal with the upside downness of my life. And so for me, getting away, moving to LA from Chicago, getting a clear head, getting a clear start for myself, finding my own community of friends, and living the life the way that I wanted to, and having to deal with that family stuff as a compartmentalized issue has helped me a lot. Holidays are still hard. They're never going to be the same. No matter how much time passes, no matter how much older I get, I think sometimes to myself, like, wow, I will never have my family where I have Christmas with everybody in the same place and they're together. It's like always, oh, go to see your mom, go to see your dad. I'll never be able to show my kids that divorce is not something that is an option, because to me, there are certain instances, obviously, where divorce is necessary, but my parents just didn't get along, and they didn't try. So there's a lot of chaos in my own mind about that stuff, but I really just want to make a family for myself so that I can kind of have like a restart on that. I feel like that's probably the best way that I will heal in my own adult life, is having my own kids, having my own husband, and then I'll really feel like, okay, like I get my own chance, and that divorce was not my divorce, it was my parents'.
Hey, thanks for watching. I'm Jarrett Martino, and I'm the creator of Inner Warrior, turning pain into positives, and we're creating a tribe of warriors. If you'd like to submit your story for our blog or an upcoming shoot, please email us at stpvoice@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to connect with us on social media. Thanks so much.